Hey, welcome to the Android channel, and today I'm going to have a little review of the Android TV box. This is an Android TV box bought on eBay for $44 US, and it is a multimedia box that plugs into your HD TV. Came in this quite nice packaged box here, and once you open the box, well, you get this little device here, which is the Android Smart TV box. So it plugs to your HD TV and gives you pretty much the capabilities of a smart TV. Comes with this remote that can be used to actually do pretty much everything, but you know, it's just so complicated that I actually plugged a keyboard with a pad that is a Logitech keyboard that I use to actually use the box. It's much better than using this little remote thing here. So what are the specs, first of all, of this little box? This little box has a dual core 1.6 gigahertz processor. Comes with Android KitKat 4.4. It has 1 gigabyte internal storage and 2 gigabytes of regular SD storage. There's no spot for an SD card, though you can actually add space with a USB key. It plays full 1080p content. That's what they say, but I'll tell you a little more later about that. 1080p isn't really watchable on this thing, which is to expect. You know, for a $44 box, you can't expect to have that much. It's an ARM Cortex A7 processor, 1.6 gigahertz CPU dual core. It has a Mali 400 GPU, which is, you know, the standard for these cheap boxes. Works well, isn't too bad, and you can add card reader, USB card reader. You can add whatever, a keyboard, a gamepad, a mouse, even webcam will work on this thing. It works wirelessly or via a RJ45 Ethernet cable. And if we look at the box itself, here is what we have in this little box. So this is the front. It's a cute package, feels somewhat quality, even though it's a cheap box. In the back, we have here, if we look a little closer, the video outs, 2 USB ports. One here is used by my Logitech keyboard and mouse. RJ45, HDMI. The HDMI cable is given in the box with the adapter, with the Android Smart TV box, and a power supply that is multi-region. So this power supply is in the box, and it has outputs for Europe and for North America. There's a little interchangeable plastic plug that you just put on depending on where you are. This is the antenna for the device, and little on-off switch right here. So it's a nice little box, and we're now going to concentrate on actually turning it on. When you turn it on, there's this little red light that turns blue when it actually boots up. And when it does, we will show you on the screen now. When it does, it will actually send you to this screen. We'll actually try to focus a little better on the TV here. And so this is the Android box. Let's close a little the lights in the door so you don't see my silhouette. Here we go. So it's an Android device. It's a cute little device. Takes somewhat a little bit of time, as you see, to load, and once it's loaded you're on that screen. Now you see that I've actually added some of my own icons right now, but works well. Like I said, it comes with this remote, but I must say that it's much better to actually use it with a keyboard and mouse. It was really easy to set up. It's pretty much like an Android phone. If you guys have an Android phone and wonder how it compares, well, you know, think about this being an Android phone on your TV screen. It's pretty much the same. It was upgraded to KitKat 4.4.2 and has pretty much every feature. It has the real, and that is a surprise for a lot of these little boxes, it has the real Google Play Store. So if you click, you really go to the official Play Store from Google, which is quite nice. A lot of these devices have their own weird store where you're not really sure if things work or not. And it's fun to see that it actually comes with the real store. I've downloaded some apps from the store. For regular type news apps, for example, like the CNN app or any of these low, you know, I call them low power apps because they don't require that much on your device. Everything works really well. Where it's a little complicated is actually when you want to download games. Now, one of the key features when you read the App Store or the eBay store, sorry, where I bought this, is the fact that they talk about, wow, you know, hours of gaming and hundreds and thousands of games. Now the biggest problem with these games is that a lot of them don't work that well on this device. And since the device has very limited memory, it's kind of impossible to download some of them. And an example of that is I wanted to download Asphalt racing game. And the problem with these games, they're like gigabytes of download, and so when you actually download them, you pretty much, you know, use all the memory for just one game, and that's probably the biggest problem here. But apart from that, you can, you know, try them out, and the negative thing about it is the fact that since we're not sure if it works or not, if you pay for a game, the problem with paid games is that you're not really sure if it's going to work or not. If we go into the settings, you'll see that it's the regular settings. Here you have Wi-Fi and everything. If we will just go here to the About Device option to show you a little bit more of what it says. So it's a Rockchip system updates. It's model number RK3066, as Android 4.4.2, kernel version 3.0.36, and you see the vendor here, RK3066, RBox, Android 4.4. Pretty much. I've checked for updates. I don't know if there will ever be updates on this box. I personally doubt it. I've owned a few other devices like these. They never usually have updates. What's interesting is that you really see that they took the telephone Android and just dropped it inside this little box. So it has all sorts of features that are phone only. Another feature that it actually asks for you to do is to touch the screen to do stuff. And well, no, this is a TV, an HD TV. You cannot touch the screen, so it's sometimes a little awkward to use when you do that. But apart from that, works pretty well. You know, for $44, I am amazed at how well it actually works. I've connected to my Netflix account. I can watch HD stuff on Netflix. Now, that's where I wanted to say that little negative side. Yeah, HD is right, but you know what? An HD is 720p or better. Now, this thing works with 720p very well. So on an HD TV, watching Netflix does work quite well. Where It's a little problem is in 1080p. If you watch or get a video in 1080p, you'll see that it has a little lag in it. It's like a slow computer that just has the bare minimum to actually show you 1080p stuff. Also, when stuff is in 1080p, I've noticed that the box often stops and needs to actually buffer the video from time to time. So it shows you that the box really has a hard time actually really doing what it needs to do for 1080p stuff. So if you're looking for 1080p, I suggest that you actually pay more for your box than 44. This one works well for 720p, works well if you're not demanding on what you want. It comes pre-installed with the XBMC media package, so if you have network with videos on another computer or a network attached drive, you can actually view through your network all of these contents, and of course you can have video add-ons of all sorts through the XBMC. There's a lot of stuff that is available that you can check for. So all of that does work, but like the negative side is that all of that is really cool, but the problem is you eventually need more space, and that is where this thing lacks. There's not enough space to actually really enjoy, and if you use it a lot, you'll have to delete stuff to actually add stuff. So that's probably the worst of this device actually. Now I've seen that on the web page where I bought it, sorry. When I bought it, it was a 2 GB stuff, and now it seems to be advertised for the same price with 4 GB. And if we look at the storage here, this is where it goes. You have the 1 GB total space of internal storage, and you have 2 GB of total space for the NAND flash storage, for a total of 3 GB. So, here it says mount SD card, and so this is where you can actually put a USB key and mount it as an SD card if you want. That would add storage if you really want to use it, but one of the bad things about probably the SD card storage is the fact that it will be slower, much slower than the internal flash storage of the machine itself. But it is available, and you can add a USB key and play those stuff and add them over there. But not every app actually can be sent to SD card storage, and that's also something that you need to check, because the more apps you'll install, the more you'll see that you cannot move a lot of them to another storage area. So that is the negative side of it also. If we look at games, well, I'll give you just a little example here. I've installed Angry Birds, and it does work. If you want to play some Android games of all sorts, we'll just put the volume here, but you'll see that it actually does work. Here's Angry Birds Season that I installed, and works really well. So let's say I go here and take one of the levels. Here is a level for Halloween. And it works pretty well. Doesn't feel sluggish, doesn't feel like the machine has difficulty in actually processing the games. For most games that I've had that actually work, because that's the biggest problem, games that actually work are hard to really find. Another example of what I installed, Pet Rescue Saga from King. That also works quite well. It's very smooth. I can compare this because I have it on my iPhone 5, So I've been, checking out how fast it reacts and works. It actually works very well. This machine for $44 is actually very surprising, I must say. And you don't really feel the sluggishness. It's really in the 1080p HD videos that you see that the machine has some kind of difficulty processing all of that. But apart from that, it works fantastically well for the price. And I'm not at all, I was wondering if I would be happy or not with such a device. And you know what? I am very happy with this device and very surprised with it, actually. So if you're looking for something cheap, yeah, why not? This is not bad at all. Apart from that, it has a web browser, so you can actually go onto the web and watch whatever you want, search for anything you want. It logs into your accounts. If you have a Google account, it works really well. The browser works quite well. There's not really any pages that it didn't work. Some of the very heavy pages, like an example here that I'll give. Let's say we'll go to Computer World. Computer World website. One of the problems with Computer World website that I've seen is it often crashes on that site, which is a very graphic intense website now. So it did make the browser crash a little bit. One thing that you can do is install Google Chrome. It exists for your for the device and it works. One advantage that I say is nice is the fact that because it acts like a mobile device, well, if you have mobile content, well, you can bring it to your TV. And an example of that, here we have our local newspaper that has a digital edition for tablets. But it works only on mobile devices, not on PCs. And what's nice here is that this little device, since it works pretty much as a mobile device, actually let me install that newspaper. Apart from that, the internet is a little slow on some of the websites. It depends where you are. But once the pages are loaded, you click, everything's pretty fast. Wi-Fi is surprisingly good. If you consider that this box is in another room and my router is in my office, and there is quite a little distance from where we are, I consider this little box to actually perform quite well. And thanks to the little external antenna, I think that really helps in having this content. What's missing at the start? Well, it doesn't have video feeds apps. So you'll have to install YouTube on your own. You have to install, I installed Ustream because I go there very often. I did install my Videotron cable box app, and that's really cool because that lets me see content from my cable subscription onto my device. So if you have an app, an Android app for your phone, for example, with your cable provider, it's pretty cool because you can install it in this box and watch the content on your TV. And it's actually a nice, very unusual way of watching content in another room without having to have, another cable box. And sometimes a lot of these, companies charge to have extra cable boxes. Now you got one for free. So if you have an Android app for your cable provider, this is really cool for that. Works very well with Netflix. Of course, email, everything that is the usual standard of what you can do with Android is great. For crashes, it actually didn't really crash much. I've owned this device for about, I'd say 10 days now. And I really used it extensively. And if we look at the stats here, we're going to go into app stats for the you know, how much data usage I have, you'll see that I used it a lot. Netflix, I've streamed 4 gigabytes of Netflix, 1.8 gigabytes of Illico TV, downloaded 500 megs of Google Play stuff, all of that. And you see that these are contents that I've looked at. And in the past 10 days, this box has worked pretty much every evening. Before I go to bed, I turn it on and I play with it for at least an hour and a half before I go to sleep. And I must say that it was very stable. It didn't crash. Where it actually has a little problem, with the remote control, you can actually put the box in sleep mode, which means that instead of using the switch in the back of the little device, you just put it in sleep mode. And what's nice about it is that you just, you know, press the power button on the remote control, and what happens is it turns back on. But that I've had problems with. I would say that if you leave it in sleep mode more than a day or two, when you turn it on, it usually can't synchronize date time. Apps crash much more. So you really have to basically really shut it down. I actually simply shut it down by the switch at the back of the device. And when I need it, I turn it on, and it gives me that, you know, like a fresh new Android start on the device itself. Apart from that, it works really like a Android device, so you can have multiple pages of apps. So I can, you know, take an app and move it to another page if I want, as you see here. So you have pages of apps, like on your phone. You know, if you have a Galaxy phone or any Android phone, that's pretty much how it works. If you are an Android fan, I mean, if you have Android devices, this is not going to be a problem to use for you because it works exactly like your phone. Another thing that is interesting is that you can also install an Android remote on your phone and control the device via that remote. So if you don't have a keyboard and pad like I do, you can actually have that through your phone and control your box through the Android phone. So that is another nice feature of the box. So all in all, I give this box, you know, for 44 bucks, I give this box a pretty good score because, you know, let's just think about it. $44, what do you want to have today? I'd expect, you know, to have the same, you know, I didn't expect to have this much content and this much possibilities with this device for the price that I paid for. And maybe that's why I actually like the box. And even though it's not 1080p full HD, if you're not really demanding, if it's not something that's really that important for you, you just want some kind of little box that goes on the web that makes you view movies, videos and stuff, well, this works and it does the job. It just, you know, can't do it in a very high def mode. And for that, you'll have to pay much more. You'll have to buy one of those quad-core boxes probably that have much better performance. You know, if you are looking for a 1080p, full 1080p video, then I would suggest that you pay for those boxes that are closer to like $100. And these boxes will actually perform much, much better for 1080p content. So hope you enjoy. So this is the Android Smart TV Box. It's available on eBay. I bought it for $44. If you just type Android Smart TV or Android TV Box, you'll see there are hundreds and dozens. The one that I have is the one that is a Core 2 1.6 gigahertz with KitKat 4.4.2. That was also something that I wanted. I wanted to have an operating system that wasn't too old. Be careful if you buy one of these boxes on eBay. There's a lot of the old Android stuff, you know, Android 2. You don't want to have anything below Android version 4, that's for sure. And try to get the closest you can from the actual operating system, and this one is very close. It's KitKat, you know, 4.4. So if you have any comments or questions, you can ask away, and I'll be happy to answer any questions about this box to anyone that wants to know more. And if you enjoy our videos, why not subscribe to our channel? You'll be informed when new videos are online. I'll be posting more Android videos in the coming days and weeks, especially with this box. We'll be checking at apps from the App Store and all sorts of things. So and also at, you know, configs and how to change all sorts of settings in Android. And hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we'll come back soon. Bye bye.